20 years old.
You want him to do the shorter version or the long version?
I was about 20 years old.
Let him tell the story the way he wants to tell it.
I used to smoke then, too, which was bad. But anyway, I was working at this site, Dennis saw it. It's like 2 miles from the radar site. It was called the Gator site, and that stood for ground to air, transmit, and receive. And it was back in the old days when they worried about the Russians attacking the United States with bombers, we had a radar site to pick them up, and they'd send information to the fighter jets to intercept them, and the data would come from the site where we were, and they had to be far away from the radar so it wouldn't interfere with the communications. So that's why it was 2 miles away from the base. And when I used to work there, it was back in Dennis. It was in this unbelievably thick woods that they used to log in. They used to have lumberjacks working in. And the area had a history that none of us on the base knew about. So anyway, I was working. We used to work on the evenings shift, and on the weekends you worked alone. There was one person out there. And what you would do is you would drive a truck out to the site, go out there, and then the guy that was on duty, he would drive the truck back to the base and leave you out there. And it was all fenced in, it has barbed wire fence. Dennis seen it. There was a light by the gate, and there was a bell to ring. Tell the guy in the building, there's this long building. The building's about 300 feet long.
Yeah.
And it's about, I don't know, let's say 50 feet wide. Had no windows. It had bomb doors. Had these big 12-foot high doors, steel doors. And the back end of the building, the very back was a cliff that dropped right off. So the fence went all the way around and had all these antennas in there. And so I went out, I drive out, and I took the truck out and relieved the guy in. And what you do when you get there, I unlock the gate, drive in, and what we used to do is we used to always set a combination. We were lazy. We'd set all the numbers but the last number. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to scramble all the numbers. But we would put the last number. And I don't know if the sign was still there, but this thing actually had no entry, and it was the use of lethal force was authorized.
Yeah, no, the sign's still there, Dad.
You could actually, we had weapons out. We could shoot you if you came in the area.
Oh.
You wouldn't, because we had a lot of top secret communications equipment there. So I go in, I relieve this guy. I walk out with him. We walk out to the gate. I wave goodbye to him. I put the lock on the gate. I set the combination. I go in the building. So I was in a couple hours, an hour or two, and it's starting to get dark. I ran out. It wasn't dark yet. I ran out of cigarettes, and I called the base, and I asked a friend of mine if he'd drive out and bring me a pack of cigarettes. So he comes out. And he has to ring the bell because he doesn't. The only people that knew the combination are people that worked there. And he rings the bell, and we always had the usual way is dump, da da dump, dump. Everybody always rang the bell that way. So I go out to the gate, I walk down there, and I go to let him in, and all the numbers are scrambled on their lock. So I thought, somebody's been fooling around. Somebody was trying to get in the gate or something. So I let him in, and he gives me my cigarette. I says, hey, do me a favor. He says, wait until I get back in the building. I said, because somebody's been trying to get in here before you drive off. So he let him in. He turned around. He went outside the gate. He stood there. I locked the gate. I put the chain on it. I walked up to the building, and there's these end doors. There was 3 sets of doors. One at the end of the building, and then about 100 feet down, there was double doors on the side, and then another 100 feet, another double doors, and then you went into an office at the very back. And it was all rows of electronics equipment. Just rows and rows of all this electronic stuff. It was all air conditioned and sealed room. The guy, he waves to me. I close the door, and I go walking all the way down. I got just almost in the office, the last set of giant steel doors, and then the door, like, I get boom, boom, something real. I mean, not just knocking. I mean, boom, boom. The doors were actually making like a vibrating sound, and I just started literally almost going, oh my God, what is going on? And I just stood there for a second, and it went boom, boom, run in the office. I get the carbine. I put the gun. I had like 45 rounds with me. I'm going up. I go back to the door, and there it's going on again. Boom, boom. This big steel door, and it actually like vibrates. And I yell, "Who's out there?" Nothing. And then boom, boom. I says, "I've got a gun, and I'm gonna shoot if you don't tell me who's out there." Boom, boom, boom. I go, fuck, 'cause I ain't gonna shoot the gun because it's the bullets will probably kill me on a ricochet, and they're not gonna go through the door. So I run in the office, and there's this office. You go through the doors in the office. I know the building's locked. It's pretty secure to get into the doors. And I go to the phone. I remember I was sitting in the corner, and there's a vent on the edge of the building, right behind me. That I didn't realize. I'm telling you that because of what transpires later. So I call the base, and I call the guy. I says, "Hey, we had a break-in. Somebody's in the area." And he said, I said, "Yeah, they're banging on the door. Somebody hit the gate." I says, "You better send guys out here." He says, "Okay, we'll get people on our way out there."
Yeah, you forgot the part when you went and looked at the gate and someone's pushing the buttons, beep, 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 on the gate.
No, that's coming up.
Oh, okay.
I didn't forget anything. Were you
It's
there?
okay. No, well, I remember the story. I never forgot.
And I'm talking to so the guy says, "Okay, we'll be right there." I said, "Wait, don't hang up." I just told him I was terrified. I said, "Don't hang up. I stay on the phone with me." And we're talking, and I'm going. I says, "Okay." So when they get here, I said, "Hammering the bell," and he says, "Okay, how?" I says, "Have them do the usual." And it was like a little while goes by that before they could even get there, and the bell starts ringing. Ring, 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 ring. Oh, what the fuck? It ain't the dump that I'm dumb. And then I'm saying, "Holy shit!" And then I says, "Are they on their way?" He says, "Yeah, they're on their way," and that. And they're probably about halfway there. And the way the road, Dennis could tell you, this road winds like crazy. We found out later on that if you stand on the corner outside where I was, you could see the road. Nobody ever paid attention to that. And if it's at night, you'd see headlights coming. At that point, you could look, and the road, they'd still be a mile away. But you could see that they turned and they're heading out here. There's nothing else, nowhere else going on. And while I'm talking to the guy, and he says they're almost there, there was an ungodly scream. And I mean, it was just a sound I never heard. I can't even imitate it. And it was just like a scream and a whistle combined or something. And my heart stopped. I even get nervous now. And the guy on the phone starts yelling at me, "What the hell is that?" I'm not talking. I'm frozen with fear because it came from right behind me. So I thought it was standing right behind me. Because he could hear it on the phone. And I feel like it took me an hour, and it couldn't take me an hour, to turn around and look what was standing behind me. And there was nothing there. By the time I turned around, this guy's still yelling at me. "What's there? What's there?" Because he heard the scream, and I stopped. I'm not talking no more. I'm not doing nothing. And I look, and there's nothing there, but I'm realizing there's the vent. So what I heard was right outside the building next to the vent. I'm right next to the vent. And then I got, my heart, I go to him, "You hear that?" And he goes, "Yeah, I heard. What is it?" He's telling me. I said, "I don't know." And then I hear, dun, 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 dun. The guys are there. Well, they don't have the combination. So I said, "They're here. I'm going to go." And I take the gun, and I have to go down the whole building.
That'd be the hardest part, God.
So I go out of the office. There's nothing going on. I got and I'm looking through all the roads. I'm heading down. I have to walk the whole 300 feet. Then I get to the end doors. Now I got to leave the building to go let these guys in. And that was pretty hard. I opened the door. I remember looking down. All the trucks are down there. And I ran the 100-yard dash. I probably broke a world record. I ran for that freaking gate, man. And I get down there, and the gate was all twisted and bent and everything. We had a hell of a time. I got the combination off. We got the gate out. They got it open. And then all the trucks come pouring in. And the guys are flying out. They got weapons, searchlights going all over. And, of course, nothing's there. Everybody thinks, okay, I'm a Looney Tune. Thank God I had the guy on the phone, heard what I heard, and all that. Then this guy,
The gate was all mangled.
Yeah, it was all twisted and bent.
Yeah. Well, no, that's what I'm saying. All those people.
Well, somebody could have bent. They don't know what. They think I'm mad. These guys don't know what. They don't know what they're coming out for. And then they come and they search the whole thing. They say, okay, we're going to lock up and we're going back to the base. Go back on. I said, I ain't staying. And this guy, there was a lieutenant there, I think, or captain. He said, yes, Cameron, you're on duty. I said, well, you're going to court-martial me. I'm not staying. I'm going with you guys. I don't give a shit. I'm not staying out here alone. And then he made some phone call, and then they posted guards there, and they had a guy in the building. We were there, and the night went really quiet. Nothing happened. And the next day, they're going to do this big investigation. And I went in. I was on the night show. I got in. I went and got some sleep. We come out, and we're walking around, and it was up like, now these are 12-foot doors, and probably up at about 10 feet high. There was an indent in the building, in the door, the steel door. And we see that, and then we walk, and one guy calls over, and right there by that vent where I heard the scream was a big footprint. Like, big footprint in the mud. And we stood there, and you looked at the gate, you could see the road. Saying, holy shit, like there might have been one standing right there, and he let out a warning cry or something to the other ones, and that's why nothing was there.
Yeah, chances are he wasn't alone. He could have been several of them.
So they had a big investigation. The Air Force came down, and I remember I had to sit and listen to some stupid lieutenant ask me if I ever heard a deer whistle. I swear to God. That's why I have a lousy attitude towards officers. That was one of the questions he asked. He asked me and the guy, and they were asking us about the sound they heard. And I said, number one, sir, I didn't know deers whistle. And the last time I checked, they got little feet.
Yeah.
But I don't know what they ever did. They, investigation.
Oh,
they just
who
said
buried it?
they said it was like pranks or something like that. But every time after that, from then on, nobody ever worked out there alone. It was always two-man crews. And I used to always hunt in the woods. I used to love to go hunting. And Dennis saw the road. I used to go down this road. And then word got around in town what happened. And then we found out that down this road where I used to hunt, and I never paid attention to it, but it was there, was an abandoned logging site. It had this logging gear and all that. And these guys abandoned it because when they come back, they'd be working. And they come back the next day, equipment would be turned over, big heavy barrels that weighed tons, things that shouldn't be. And everybody quit working, and they thought there was Bigfoot up there. That was the rumor. And so that was going around. And I went a couple of days. I went down there. I was hunting. It was my day off, and we were hunting for deer. And I remember it was daytime. It was starting to get a little dark, and I swear to God they were watching me. I think they knew who I was. I actually, the hair on my neck, I remember, and I ran out of that road. You saw that road. Imagine
I wouldn't go
running
down
out that
there. Yeah,
road.
no, I wouldn't go down. I was looking at it. I'll be honest with you.
I wouldn't go down there now with all of us armed. I would not walk down that road. I wouldn't even go down there in an M1 tank right now. I'd just stay away from that road.
That was
And
pretty
that
cool.
happened, and and nothing ever happened out there again. But I never went hunting again. I felt that we weren't supposed to be where we were. But I mean, every
You
time
felt there was more than one. You felt like there was.
well, when I was hunting, I swear it was like a group of them. They knew who I was too. I actually had that feeling. They knew
Right.
I
They've
was the
been watching
guy,
you for a
and they
while.
were watching me.
Yeah.
It's okay. He'll be a vegetarian someday.
They're supposed to be
Give up
vegetarian,
meat.
too.
Yeah. We're gonna get him to
That's
turn
probably
it
why
down.
they didn't hurt me, because I'm a vegetarian. But it was
That's scary, Dad.
that's something to go through when you're 20. That was the most terrifying.
Oh,
time.
how old were you?
I was about 20 years old, I think, or 19 or 20.
Jesus.
And it was to this day. I mean, I don't even like it.
What part of Oregon was that?
It was in North Bend,
Sasquatch,
Oregon.
Oregon.
North Bend.
Minnesota. It was up in the mountainous area.
Yeah.
We went up there just to see
There's
the
a lot of
site.
pictures. I think you have them on your computer. We
I
emailed them
might
to
have
you.
some,
Yeah.